Hi, I'm still doing the research that David and I worked on when we were reassessing the organization. The first part of our research was organized on false prophecy and the defaming of God by it. And we're looking at the Watchtower's comments from the 60s about their history. So the first quote that I have here is from this book, "Let your name be sanctified." I'm going to actually read from the book in this case, and a little more than what I have in our project in the written form, because it'll just give you more of the setting here. We're talking about they say this 0 year of test came, AD 1914. That year, the remnant of spiritual Israelites distributed in the United States of America and in Canada more than 10 million copies of the tract, The Bible Students Monthly, Volume 6, Number 1, with the front page article, "End of World," in 1914. Then they mention that this distribution was followed up by Volume 6, Number 5 of the Bible Students Monthly, treating the subjects "Distress of Nations Preceding Armageddon and the Cause of God's Anger," the prophetic aspect of the present European war and its relation to the great time of trouble. President Woodrow Wilson of the United States of America called on the clergymen of the nations to make October 4, 1914, a day of prayer for peace in Europe. To this request, the president of the Watchtower Society, Charles Taze Russell, responded as set forth in the Watchtower as of October 15, 1914. So they quote what he said, and part of it is, "Much as we appreciate peace, and we have all our life labored to be peacemaker, we cannot pray the Almighty to change his plan to conform to those of our honored president. For 40 years we have been proclaiming this very war and its glorious outcome by sermons, oral and printed, and in our books on Bible study in 20 languages. Now, when the very year has come and the prophecy is being fulfilled, could we consistently ask the Almighty to change his program?" I just, their take on things. You were wrong, and yet you're praising yourself in 1961 about something that you were wrong about. In the All Scriptures Inspired publication from 1963, so All Scriptures is inspired of God and beneficial, 1963, page 286, they say, "It does no good to use Bible chronology for speculating on dates that are still future in the stream of time." Matthew 24:36. Well, that sounds good. Have they learned their lesson? Here are some other scriptures that we presented as things to think on when we look at their materials. Jeremiah 14:14. "And Jehovah went on to say to me, Falsehood is what the prophets are prophesying in my name. I have not sent them, nor have I commanded them or spoken to them. A false vision and divination and a valueless thing, and the trickiness of their heart they are speaking prophetically to you people." Ecclesiastes 5:2. "Do not hurry yourself as regards your mouth, and as for your heart, let it not be hasty to bring forth a word before the true God. For the true God is in heaven, but you are on the earth. That is why your words should prove to be few. Matthew 12, verses 36 and 37. I tell you that every unprofitable saying that men speak, they will render an account concerning it on Judgment Day. For by your words you will be declared righteous, and by your words you will be condemned. This should inspire caution in us when we're talking especially about future events. These are principles that should always be in our head. So, had the Watchtower learned their lesson? We're going to read a quote from Life Everlasting in Freedom of the Sons of God. This is the way the book looks, but I'll read it from my written page here, or my typed page. So in many years within our own generation, we are reaching what Jehovah God could view as the seventh day of man's existence. How appropriate it would be for Jehovah God to make of this coming seventh period of 1,000 years a Sabbath period of rest and release, and a great Jubilee Sabbath for the proclaiming of liberty throughout the earth to all its inhabitants. This would be most fitting on God's part. For remember, mankind has yet ahead of it what the last book of the Holy Bible speaks of as the reign of Jesus Christ over the earth for 1,000 years, the millennial reign of Christ. It would not be a mere chance or accident, but would be according to the loving purpose of Jehovah God for the reign of Jesus Christ, the Lord of the Sabbath, to run parallel with the seventh millennial of man's existence. The Jubilee year of God's ancient law was a shadow of the good things to come. The substantial reality that it foreshadowed must yet, without fail, be introduced for the good of all the groaning human creation. The blessed time for its introduction is fast approaching. Shortly, within our generation, the symbolic trumpet will be sounded by divine power, proclaiming liberty in the land to all its inhabitants. The long-awaited time for this is at hand. Now, when you look at the book, this quote was pages 29 to 30, and the publication of the book is 1966. After this quote, there's 2 or 3 pages that are a chart of significant dates for from man's creation to 7,000. So AM it says, so since creation. And it ends with 1975, 6,000 years. And then it says, end of 1,000 years of man's existence in early autumn. So they definitely thought 1975 was going to be it. Now, I do remember this quote being told to me when I was a teenager. I think I was even maybe pioneering, by an elder who had been a close friend of our family, especially in the early years when my parents became Jehovah's Witnesses. And they were talking about 1975, and my parents said, well, they never said that. And I always believed that they never said it either. And the elder said, oh, no, yes, they did. And he said, just once. And then he got us to fish this book out and read this quote. So he recognized that they had said 1975. So I was a little disillusioned later to find out this wasn't the single thing that they ever said about 75. Because at the time I thought, well, it was disturbing but okay, they made a mistake. I thought, one mistake. I didn't know any of the stuff before, all the dates that had been predicted before, but I also didn't know how much stress was put on the 1975 in the publications. I was a kid. I was born in '60, so I was a kid during the writing of most of these quotes that I have here. So this is a quote from the October 8, 1966 Awake. Hence, the fact that we are nearing the end of the first 6,000 years of man's existence is of great significance. In what year, then, would the first 6,000 years of man's existence and also the first 6,000 years of God's rest day come to an end? The year 1975. This is worthy of notice, particularly in view of the fact that the last days began in 1914, and that the physical facts of our day in fulfillment of prophecy mark this as the last generation of this wicked world. So we can expect the immediate future to be filled with thrilling events for those who rest their faith in God and His promises. It means that within relatively few years, we will witness the fulfillment of the remaining prophecies that have to do with the time of the end. And then there's a end near in caps, probably a subheading on the page. What cataclysmic times are fast approaching. A climax in man's history is at the door. How vital, then, for each one who loves life to take notice of these evidences of history that point to the near end of this wicked system. Of course, as to the precise day and hour of the end, Jesus noted that knowledge of this was in the province of His Heavenly Father alone. But when a brief period of years at most separates us from the great wind-up of this old system, the vital thing is to stay spiritually awake. So they don't give you an exact day, but they give you a time frame, a period of years at the most separates us. This is 1966. I felt a sinking of my heart when I was reading these during that period of time of research. The Kingdom Ministry of March 1968 said about pioneering or spending more time in field service, in view of the short period of time left, we want to do this as often as circumstances permit. Just think, brothers, there is only about 90 months left before 6,000 years of man's existence on earth is completed. The Watchtower of August 15, 1968, page 500. This is therefore no time to be indifferent and complacent. This is not the time to be toying with the words of Jesus, that concerning the day and hour nobody knows, neither angels of heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Matthew 24:36. To the contrary, it is a time when one should be keenly aware that the end of things rapidly coming to its violent end. Then, October 8, 1968, pages 13 and 14 of the Awake. It says, the cover even had, "What will the 70s bring?" The fact that 54 years of the period called the last days has already gone by is highly significant. It means that only a few years, at the most, remain before the corrupt system of things dominating the earth is destroyed by God. The period will evidently finish in the autumn of the year 1975. Does this mean that the above evidence positively points to 1975 as a time for the complete end of this system of things? Since the Bible does not specifically state this, no man can say. However, of this we can be sure. The 1970s will certainly see the most crucial or critical times mankind has yet known. If the 1970s should see the intervention of Jehovah God to bring an end to a corrupt world drifting toward ultimate disintegration, this should surely not surprise us. That's 1968. And the last quote is from the Awake, also October 8, 1968. This is page 23. True, there have been those in times past who predicted an end of the world, even announcing a specific date. Some have gathered groups of people with them and fled to the hills or withdrawn into their houses, waiting for the end. Yet nothing happened. The end did not come. They were guilty of false prophesying. Why? What was missing? Missing was the full measure of evidence required in fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Missing from such people were God's truths and the evidence that He was guiding and using them. But what about today? Today we have the evidence required. And then they have in brackets all of it. Or in italics they have all of it. And it is overwhelming. All the many, many parts of the great sign of the last days are here, together with verifying Bible chronology. So these were some of the quotes we picked from 1968. I'm going to link to a video called Ray Franz and David A., my David, on 1975. Why is the Watchtower so ready to forgive and forget? They're ready to forgive and forget themselves. That they were some of these gathered groups waiting for the end at a specific time. They were among those people. Thanks for watching.